Hi guys, here we're going to look at how to soundproof this semi-detached lounge. You may have seen my other video on this where we looked at the main cause of the problem here. Well, this video we're going to go into a bit more detail on how we actually soundproof this room. So first of all, let's just recap on the main cause of the problem. See, soundproofing the party wall, treating the alcoves either side of the chimney stack and the fire back is just a tiny part of any soundproofing project. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to address the main cause of the problem here. And we're not talking about the neighbors making noise, their TV or their music that's blasting out. Here we're talking about something wrong with the construction of the building. So for this project, we've got a couple of holes going through to next door. The first hole is here where the noise is resonating in this shared roof. So it just looks like a normal lounge here. And if we take the window, this is the bay window, I'm looking out of the bay window. We actually cut open the bay window because it's a hollow void, and what we do is we open up any hollow void. Open up that hollow void and that reveals a hole going through all the way through. So that will go all the way through to there. So if the neighbours have got their TV on or music or conversation, having a conversation there, it's going up through that plasterboard, resonating in that hollow void, and then coming down through this bay window here. All right, so that's the first hole. That's the first hole that we need to address. The second hole is here. Well, this is a suspended floor void, and remember the neighbours for this particular case, they can hear everything from next door. They can make out words, they can hear a TV presenter's voice, they can hear kids screeching, so they're hearing a lot of high frequency come through. Remember, high frequency really struggles to come through bricks and mortar. High frequency comes through holes in the structure. So we cut open the suspended floor void, there we go, cut open the suspended floor void, and that has a hole in the structure. So what do we need to do there? We need to brick up that hole in the structure. So before you go commenting, before you go onto the comments and say, oh, you shouldn't brick up holes on the it's for suspended floor to allow the airflow. Yes, absolutely. You must not brick up holes in the structure on a suspended floor void on the party wall unless you increase the airflows. So for this particular project, we actually put extra air bricks in here, 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 and on the side. So for this particular soundproofing project, it was never a case of just treating the separating party wall alcoves. We actually pulled up the floor here by the door to make sure there was plenty of airflow in the suspended floor in order to brick up that hole in the structure and tuck the system down to the subfloor. And that's not it for the main cause. There is another main cause here. And just a reminder what main cause is. Main cause, it means it doesn't matter what soundproofing you do. It doesn't matter how singing or dancing the clip system or frame system or whatever you decide to put on the direct noise path of the party wall. Unless you address the main cause of the problem, the noise will still come through. So imagine if you didn't brick up that hole down there and you didn't brick up that hole on the bay window, the noise is still going to come through. The noise is still going to come up through the floor, it's still going to come down through there. That's what we mean by main cause. And this particular project had a third main cause. What we see here, when we go upstairs is a hollow stud wall. So this wall, you can see this is the chimney stack from downstairs, and see how the alcove is slightly smaller, right? This stud wall sits just over from this wall here. It actually sits just here, and there's actually a crack in the ceiling where you can see the lining of the stud wall there. So that stud wall, that hollow stud wall just coming through the middle of the ceiling is another main cause. Because if you did all of the soundproofing to this room and treated all of the flanking areas, the noise would still come through from the stud wall. It would resonate in that stud wall and then shoot straight down through the ceiling. So for the clients on the actual initial phone call, they were asked to put their ear on this flanking stud wall perpendicular upstairs. They could clearly hear the TV on this stud wall. So moving on to step number 2, the direct noise path, and despite what you've heard elsewhere and everywhere that you read up is putting some sort of resilient bar clip system independent wall to the direct noise path of the alcoves, the fireback and the other alcove, you absolutely must sound deaden the wall. You've got to sound deaden the wall first, then you can put your frame and clip system in front of the wall, giving you a really effective noise barrier. So you can see that's a very small part of the project, but you must tuck it up into the ceiling and down into the floor. Tucking it up, tucking it down is one of the key things to get the best reduction in noise. So moving on to step number 3 would be to treat the indirect noise paths. So here we're talking about areas where noise can come around. Here, if this is the neighbours making noise, you've got that noise coming through that suspended floor void, we've got noise coming through the ceiling void. So you have these key areas which need to be addressed. Here there's the ceiling, and here the suspended floor void, to prevent the noise coming under the system and prevent the noise coming over the system. You also need to consider the flanking areas. This is the wall perpendicular and the area of the bay window. Insulating the suspended floor, still allowing it to breathe. Insulating the ceiling, tucking the system up, tucking the system down, and then installing mast to the ceiling, giving the clients their privacy, reflecting their noise back into the room. Step number 4, the fixtures and fittings. Is here we've got the shelving, we've got the fire surround, we have electric fire, we've got new electrical, TV on the wall, picture rail, all put back in a way that doesn't compromise the new soundproofing. So just to give you an idea, the skirting was raised off of the floor with a 4mm gap, so any noise from the floor is not going to go into the floating frame and compromise the bottom of the floating frame, for example. So what is that soundproofing result? Well, these homeowners claim they got at least an 85% reduction in noise. They're gone from maybe hearing their neighbours all the time and not using the lounge, not being able to have a private conversation in their lounge, to maybe hearing them a handful of times over a fortnight. So great result there. They understand if they wanted more of a reduction in noise than that, it would be this flanking wall here to be treated and this window wall here to be treated too.